This is a moment where if you are a leader, it's very tough and very challenging. But I also want to suggest that there is a reason why people who believe in the values that we do should still feel confident. Even with the economic crisis that we have had these last few years, I don't actually believe there is a better model than a public sector that does what government only can do and a thriving, enterprising private sector. I don't believe in some new model of state capitalism. I don't think that works. I think that works. What works is the rule of law, a healthy environment for doing business, proper financial regulation, but an economy that allows the enterprise and energy of the people to drive the economy as its engine. I don't believe there's a better system than democracy. I know democracy can pose its challenges and its difficulties, but no two democracies have ever been to war together, and no country, once it is a democracy, has ever chosen not to be. And personally, I would prefer to see government always underneath the people, not the people underneath the government. And finally, that technology, that revolutionary change, yes, it's happening, but it's also largely invented in societies that are open and free. And this brings me to a point that I think is fundamental to how we see the world today, and why I believe it's so important that the strong alliance that has been represented by Western governments and powers over a long period of time still holds together. Now, I know, by the way, it's never easy for different countries to form alliances together. I mean, it's difficult enough between the Americans and the British, who, I think it was Churchill or Oscar Wilde, there is a difference, who said that we were two nations divided by a common language. And it can be even worse in Europe, by the way. You probably realize the British and the French sometimes have a little tension. In fact, I have to say, the most insincere answer I ever gave to a question when I was in politics, and as you can imagine, there's some competition for that accolade, was after we won the Olympic bid, because I led the Olympic bid or promoted as the Prime Minister the Olympic bid in the UK. And after we won the bid against Paris, I remember the next day's press conference, someone said to me, does the fact that you have beaten the French make the victory all the sweeter? And I said, not at all. But I actually tried in my own way to bring the French and the British together when I first became Prime Minister, because the previous government had been a little Eurosceptic, and I was anxious to try and push forward the old entente cordiale. So I actually speak French, but not as well as I thought I did. And I decided to do a press conference with the French Prime Minister of that time in French. It's a bit of a dangerous thing to do, but nonetheless I did it. And the first question from a French journalist was, are there any policy positions of the French Prime Minister that you desire to emulate? And I used a phrase a little wrongly. And what I meant to say was there are many policy positions of the French Prime Minister I desire to emulate, instead of which I said, I desire the French Prime Minister in many different positions. This, by the way, did play its part in the entente cordiale, but not quite the way I anticipated. So, look, I know how difficult it is for people to work across national boundaries. But right now, this is the moment when the world's got to come together to take the decisions necessary to sort out its economic and financial system, to recognize that the values that we hold dear, values of liberty and justice and rule of law and democratic government, are important and worth standing up for and being prepared to advocate. And above all else, understand that the real difference in the world today, I think personally, now is less to do with traditional left and right. I know that's still important. I know that still agitates a lot of politics here, in my country, in America, elsewhere. But more profound to me, as I see the world today, is a distinction that's not about so much left and right as what I would call the open-minded versus the closed-minded. Everywhere I look, I see the people and the companies and the countries that succeed are those with an open mind. Those who are open to people who are different, those who are open to nations that are different, those who are open to ideas and innovation that is different. And that is at the heart of what creates today successful, vibrant societies and economies. That's what we should be educating our young people to. That's what we should be instilling in them, a sense that this globalized world, with all its challenges, offers huge opportunities if people are open-minded enough to take them. So I feel that right now is a very, very important moment in terms of the leadership that is necessary and has to be given. And the essence of a leader is that you're prepared to step out when others step back and take responsibility for difficult and often profound long-term decisions. This is a moment where we need such leadership. This is a moment where we should have the courage and the confidence to take those decisions, knowing that actually the way of life that we believe in and have been brought up in is the right way for the future, and that despite all the challenges that abound, we should have confidence we can meet those challenges, overcome them, and prosper. Thank you very much.